That's one reason I want to do that survey approach with Tim, because part of it's getting an alternative damage function, but the idea of having 160, that's why I want as many as possible, for 300 scientists to referee the shit that economists have published on climate change. And I think once scientists see the nonsense that economists have done, they will lose their professional reticence about encroaching on another area. So I'd love to get a couple of scientists in every university on the planet. That'd be my ideal, to read this stuff and say, holy hell, it's that stupid. What other stupid stuff comes out of the economics department? And then get a movement by scientists to drive economics out as a profession, as a discipline, drive it out of the university. It should be taught next to Scientology.
Well, speaking of both your work with Tim Lenton and scientists mobilizing, we have Julia from Scientist Rebellion who would like to ask you a question. Go ahead,
Okay.
Julia.
Hi, thank you so much. It's really refreshing to hear such a frank talk. So your plan with Tim Lenton is great, but I'm wondering, Scientist Rebellion was essentially set up by two scientists throwing paint at the Royal Society, so calling out our own scientific institutions where the research has been supported and done and output. But who do not seem to be acting with the speed and the urgency which the climate emergency demands. And so alongside the work that you propose, how would you feel about being a bit more supportive of calling out our own institutions in their practices? I mean, those rubbish economist works should never have been funded in the first place. It seems to me they've been not only nonsense, but actively harmful. So how could we support changing our entire academic system to call that out, to stop that from happening? And would you join us in that effort?
I think that the strategy Tim and I have is about the only way to effectively do it, because so long as, I mean, for example, the Economic and Social Research Council in the UK organised a rebuilding economics or rethinking economics research group way back in 2015, I think, and I got a small amount of funding out of that, which is where I did some work with Tim Garrett, who's another climate scientist, and Matteo Scriselli on the mathematics of energy in economics. But that's fun hasn't continued on. The neoclassicals are now dominating the ESRG yet again. And so long as the Economic and Social Research Group is separate from the science group in terms of making decisions about funding, they'll continue giving money to neoclassical economists. So, and the same thing in America, the same thing in Australia. The Australian Research Council will continue turning down people like me and funding people like Nordhaus in the Australian situation. So the only way you can actually have any chance to stop it is to, and this is why, I mean, as horrible as it has to get to this situation, I've been fighting for 50 years to bring neoclassical economics down and failing abjectly to destroy them, but at least, becoming known for somebody who points out their absurdities. But the only way to really get rid of them is to have scientists say, you guys don't belong in a university. You guys are pre-scientific. You're pre-Copernican. Okay. And they would never, again, because scientists understand science, they know, like a physicist, even though a physicist might think that other disciplines are stamp collecting, they won't go and try to do stamp collecting themselves. Whereas economists think they've got the wisdom of the universe, and they'll go into any bloody area, including climate change and everything else they've invaded with their idea of utility maximizing behavior and profit maximizing blah blah blahs as well. So the only way to do it now is say, well, look at what they've done with climate science, and get climate scientists to see it, and then get climate scientists saying in their own social circles, which of course means science departments, these guys are lunatics. We've got to get rid of them. So, I mean, I see the work that I want to do with Tim. It's ridiculous to say, but I think it's true. The most crucial research can be done right now. We need about $1.5 million to do it. We're trying to find somewhere to get the funding.
Ghost note here. The alternative idea is a collaborative effort of scientists who join as co-authors for the project in order to eliminate the need for funding. If this idea intrigues you, please do contact Professor King either through his Patreon or Substack.
If we can do it, then I think with that idea, particularly the idea of the survey, more so than working out an alternative damage function, getting scientists to post hoc referee those papers by climate economists and see just how stupid they are. And then that will spread the news through science departments of how dangerous economists are. And hopefully then we can get that going up to the level of funding bodies, and then have, say, whatever the Science Research Council is in the UK, to start talking. We want to have a talk to you guys in the ESRG about the sort of research you fund and why. So something to get scientists taking on economists. And the best tactic I think I've come up with is the one that Tim and I hope to do. A post hoc survey, post hoc referee, what should never have been published.